This is English shorthand dictation number 159 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. When I started my political work, it was only with the motive of being by the side of my mother. She bore with stoic fortitude the irreparable loss of a son who had been a tower of strength. She gave me no directions, no formula, no prescriptions. She just advised me to understand the real India, its people, its problems. So I plunged into work. Millions of faces in varying moods of joy and sorrow, of eager expectation, of triumph and defeat filled my being till they merged into the face of Mother India. I was exhilarated by what had been achieved in the short period since independence. I was also saddened by what might have been achieved but was not because of weaknesses in the government and in the party. I kept my counsel to myself as I was an apprentice in the great school of politics. After 2 years of incessant traveling, meeting people, reading and reflection, I felt I could go to her with my perceptions. Listening to me, she thought I had gained some understanding of the complexities of our society. Then she began to unburden herself. She spoke of India's enduring strength and of her hopes for India, but also of her apprehensions and anxieties. She analyzed with clinical precision how the entire system had been weakened from within, how the party had once again been infiltrated by vested interests who would not allow us to move, how patronage and graft had affected the national institutional framework, how nationalism and patriotism had ebbed, how the pettiness and selfishness of persons in political positions had ruptured social fabric. She was clear that if India had to keep her tryst with destiny, so much had to change. Then suddenly she left us. Her thoughts and reflections on the state of the nation are an abiding influence. We have cherished our democracy. Democracy is our strength. In 1984, the people of India gave our party its largest ever majority. Their eloquent verdict strengthened the unity and integrity of India. A nation sorrowing over its beloved leader drew from its vast reserves of strength to protect the inheritance of its glorious freedom struggle. We applied the lessons of the 1984 elections to the complex and difficult problems in Punjab and Assam. Our basic concern was to end my sense of alienation in the large interests of national unity. We carried forward the process to reach understanding and harmony, to dispel mistrust and suspicion, and to seek the people's mandate for progress throughout brotherhood. We had no narrow partisan considerations in view. The situation demanded that we rise above mere expediency. The Congress, with its century-old tradition of nationalism, put India first. We have no illusions that all problems have been resolved, but the democratic way of nation building requires patience, perseverance, and a spirit of conciliation. Those who have been entrusted with responsibility have to constantly keep in view the larger perspective of unity. They have to act in the same spirit of nationalism in which we have acted. Enduring unity comes from the willing cooperation of all. We proclaim and celebrate the unity of India. It is a fact of transcending significance. But is it not also a fact that most of us in our daily lives do not think of ourselves as Indians? We see ourselves as Hindus, Muslims, or Christians, and so on and so forth. We shed blood to uphold our narrow and selfish denominations. We are imprisoned by the narrow domestic walls of religion, language, caste, and region, blocking out the clear view of a resurgent nation. State governments and social organizations promote policies, programs, and ideologies which divide brother from brother and sister from sister. Bonds of fraternity and solidarity yield to the onslaughts of meanness in mind and spirit. Is this the India for which Mahatma Gandhi and Indira Gandhi sacrificed their lives? Turn to the great institutions of our country and you will see that too often behind their imposing facades the spirit and substance lack vitality. The work they do sometimes seems strangely irrelevant to the primary concerns of the masses. Attempts are made to taint the electoral process at its very source. Issues of crucial national importance are frequently subordinated to individual, sectional, and regional interests. Our legislatures do not set standards for other groups to follow. They magnify the conspicuous lack of a social ethic. A convenient conscience compels individuals to meander from ideology to ideology, seeking power, influence, and riches. Political parties twist their tenets, enticed by opportunism. We are amongst the few to have the rule of law and an independent judiciary, but thousands wait for decades while an elaborate and arcane machinery grinds ever so slowly. The poor have little hope of timely redress. We value our free press. It made a magnificent contribution to our freedom struggle. After independence, the national media have helped to consolidate our unity and promote social and economic change. But the question the media need to put to themselves is, does their contribution to nation building measure up to their role in the freedom struggle? Our economy owes much to the enterprise of our industrialists. But there are some reputed business and industrial establishments which shelter battalions of law breakers and tax evaders. We have industrialists untouched by the thrusting spirit of the great risk takers and innovators. The traders' instinct for quick profits prevails. They flourish on sick industries. Many have not cared to learn the fundamental lesson that industrialization springs from the development of indigenous technology, not from dependence on others. Industrial empire built on the shaky foundations of excessive protection, social irresponsibility, import orientation, and corruption may not last long. The trade unions have a glorious heritage of nationalism and of socially relevant radicalism. Today they are a mere shadow of their past. They feel little concern for the creation of national wealth. They only want a larger and larger share in it. Nothing is considered illegitimate if one marches under the right flag. Power without responsibility, rights without duties have come to be their prerogative. Will productivity arise from such stony soil? Let us not forget that the poor and the unemployed have to sacrifice their development programs to subsidize inefficient industry. In the field of education, the nation has much to be proud of. Access to education has been widened immeasurably. Indian scholars are in the front rank of creative endeavor in the best institutions across the world. But the schools, the universities, and the academies of the Republic, which should fill our minds with hope for tomorrow, cause us great concern. Teachers seldom teach, and students seldom learn. Strikes, mass copying, agitations are more attractive alternatives. Where there should be experiment and innovation, there is blind faith in dead ritual and custom, smothering creativity and the quest for knowledge and truth. Where there should be independence and integrity, there is the heavy hand of politics, caste, and corruption. Where there should be a new integration between modern science and our heritage, there is a dull development recede into the background. What can we say about the iron frame of the system, the administrative and the technical services, the police and the myriad functionaries of the state? They have done so much and can do so much more. But as the proverb says, there can be no protection if the fence starts eating the crop. This is what has happened. The fence has started eating the crop.